former Republican governor of New Hampshire, John Sununu. Can you hear us, Governor?
I can. How are you today?
We're doing great, and we appreciate your time. Let me put this to you bluntly. Your guy, Mitt Romney, has had a few moments with regular voters that were, I think it's fair to describe as cringeworthy. For example, when he described himself as unemployed as well to an unemployed voter. Are you sure he's up to the job tonight of interacting with regular voters, undecided voters in front of tens of millions of people with the president looking on?
Well, he's certainly not going to make as big a fool of himself as the president did last time. I think Mitt Romney's ready to talk to voters. He's been doing it constantly, and the results of emotion and outpouring continue to grow, and it tells me that he's really touching them. So I think this is a good format for him, but I think it's a format that unfortunately doesn't allow for as much interaction from candidate to candidate, so I think it tends to drive the whole thing to a draw, but it's going to be a good night for Mitt Romney.
So what's your expectation, Governor, from what the president is going to bring this time? Do you expect him to have a similar performance to last or 2 weeks ago?
Well, I have to assume that that after the disaster he had 2 weeks ago, where you know, his own supporters felt awful about it, but worse than that, you had the world watching, and I think he actually embarrassed America to the rest of the world. So I hope he's done his homework so that at least in terms of the rest of the world watching, it is not as embarrassing a performance as last time.
But you expect him to come out much more aggressively against the governor this time? I mean, you said you're worried that they can't engage with each other, but do you expect that the president's going to try to do that?
Well, I hope he doesn't look like Joe Biden, who reminded me of an Army training film warning about the hazards of too much caffeine. But I think the president's going to try and be a little more aggressive, but it is not an easy format for that to happen.
Governor, let me ask you something from the headlines now. Hillary Clinton has come out and she says that she takes responsibility for the situation in Benghazi. Obviously, there's still an investigation pending, but do Hillary Clinton's comments, does that lay this matter to rest for you?
Not at all. I think she's just being a good soldier, and I frankly think it's embarrassing for the president to have the Secretary of State take the fall for him. I think she's doing what she thinks is there to support the president, but this Benghazi issue has now become an issue of character, and I think as we see the dissembling and dishonesty coming out of the campaign, and the fact that the State Department emphasized that they knew it was a terrorist attack almost immediately because they were watching part of it live on some of the TV feedback, and they were firm on the fact that they never thought it was anything but that. I think for the president to go 2 weeks later to the UN and say 6 times, refer it to the video, is just an absolute dishonest act on the part of the president.
An issue he did not want to discuss with the press this morning, an issue almost certain to come up tonight. Governor John Sununu, thank you for your time, pulling no punches in that interview there, and alerting us, by the way, to something I was unaware of, that there are Army training videos about the dangers of having too much caffeine, which I'm going to look up on YouTube later. Thank you once again, Governor.